Hello, my name is Ash, a counselor in training. This is my Relatable study podcast for individuals who need help studying for their NCE, CPCE, and other related counseling exams. I'm going to go through many questions from multiple resources and make the answers relatable to both you and me. So get your listening ears on and let's get studying. A neophyte counselor discovers that her client invariably gives yes or no answers to her questions. The problem is most likely that A. The counselor is sympathetic rather than empathetic. B. The counselor is utilizing too many closed-end questions. C. The counselor's timing is poor in terms of interpretation. D. She is summarizing too early in the counseling process. The answer is B. The counselor is utilizing too many closed-end questions, which is why her client is giving her yes or no answers to her questions. Closed-end questions do not open up the conversation, such as, did you utilize this technique this week? Or, are you ready to try a new technique? Whereas open-ended questions opens up the conversation like, how was your day? How was your week? Tell me more about this, so on and so forth. The role of the therapist in strategic family therapy is all of the following except A. Find the myth that keeps a behavior going. B. Understand levels of communication. C. Focus on levels of organization. D. Overcome feelings of inferiority. The answer is D. Overcoming feelings of inferiority is not the role of the therapist in strategic family therapy, though finding the myth that keeps a behavior going, understanding levels of communication, and focus on the levels of organization is a part of the role of the therapist in family therapy. If the therapist is feeling inferior to the family, then the therapist needs to talk to their supervisor, talk to colleagues, bring this to their own therapy, and work on overcoming these feelings away from the family therapy. A client remarks that he was just dumped by his girlfriend. The counselor responds, "Oh, you poor dear, it must be terrible. How can you go on living?" This is an example of A. EMDR, B. Accurate empathy, C. Confrontation, D. Sympathy. The answer is D. This is an example of sympathy. It is not empathetic because the counselor is feeling bad for the client and is sympathizing with them rather than showing them empathy, which could be, I understand how that feels. It must be rough dealing with this breakup. EMDR is a different type of therapy that helps with PTSD and trauma. Confrontation is you are confronting a client about their situation or issue or something that they said that doesn't make sense. Hypnotherapy is used today for A. Headaches, B. Childbirth, C. Chronic pain, D. All of the above. The answer is D. Hypnotherapy is used for headaches, childbirth, and chronic pain. Hypnotherapy is a therapeutic practice that guides clients to reach a trance-like state of focus and concentration. It diminishes peripheral awareness, and the client is heightened to suggestibility. A neophyte counselor is afraid that he will say the wrong thing. Thus, he keeps repeating the client's statements verbatim when he responds. This is also known as A. Desirable attending behavior, B. Parroting and is not recommended, C. Level 3 on the empathy scale, D. Paradoxal intention. The answer is B. This is known as parroting and is not recommended. When you are saying what the client says verbatim, you are parroting what they said. It is better to use summarization because you are summarizing what the client said in your own words, and they will feel like they are being heard by you, whereas parenting can get annoying, and the client may feel like they are not being heard, and parroting is not recommended because of its negative effects on individuals. For example, the client may say, "I feel like I'm just having a terrible day." The counselor then may say, "You're having a very terrible day." The client said, yeah, and I'm quite frankly annoyed with what's happened. The counselor will say, and you're feeling quite annoyed about what has happened. The client then may say, why are you parodying me? It leads to slight microaggressions because there may be a miscommunication because the counselor may fear that he will say the wrong thing. I would recommend doing some more research into parodying and how it is not recommended. And that is all 5 questions for this episode. Thank you for listening. Keep calm and study on.